Marcus Reed stared at his phone in absolute horror, his finger frozen over the screen as he watched the message status change from sending to delivered. The text he just sent read, "Dude, my boss is so hot, like unfairly attractive. I can barely think straight in meetings. Help." The intended recipient, his best friend Tyler. The actual recipient, Dr. Amara Patel, his boss, the woman he'd just described as unfairly attractive. No, Marcus frantically tried to unsend the message, but it was too late. The damage was done. His phone buzzed immediately, a response from Dr. Patel. "We need to talk. My office. Now." Marcus felt his soul leave his body. At 31, Marcus was a data analyst at Riverside Medical Research, a position he'd worked hard to get after years of struggling as a single father. His 6-year-old daughter, Harper, was the center of his world, and this job provided the stability and benefits they desperately needed. And he'd just sexually harassed his boss via text message. He knocked on Dr. Patel's office door, his heart hammering so hard he thought he might pass out. "Come in." Amara Patel sat behind her desk, her dark hair pulled back in its usual elegant bun, her expression unreadable. At 34, she was one of the youngest department heads in the hospital's history. Brilliant, composed, and yes, objectively beautiful in a way that made Marcus forget how to use words properly. Which is exactly how he'd ended up in this situation. "Close the door," she said. Marcus did, feeling like he was walking to his execution. "Dr. Patel, I am so incredibly sorry. That text was meant for my friend, not you. It was completely inappropriate and unprofessional, and I understand if you need to report this to HR. I'll pack my things." Amara looked at him for a long moment. "Sit down, Marcus." He sat, preparing for termination. "That text was inappropriate," she said carefully, "and we do need to address it. But I'm more concerned about the fact that you're apparently discussing me with your friends in those terms." "I know. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. It won't happen again." "Marcus, let me be very clear. Workplace harassment is serious, but a text accidentally sent to the wrong person while venting to a friend about an attraction isn't the same as creating a hostile work environment." Marcus blinked. "I'm not fired, not for this. But we need to establish boundaries. If you're uncomfortable working with me because of this attraction, I can arrange a transfer to a different department." "No. I mean, that's not necessary. I can be professional. I am professional. The text was a private conversation that should never have involved you." Amara's expression softened slightly. "For what it's worth, I appreciate your work. You're good at your job, you're reliable, and you've never made me feel uncomfortable. This was a mistake, not a pattern of behavior. Thank you. I promise it won't happen again. Good. Now, about the actual content of the text." Amara paused, a hint of amusement crossing her face. "Unfairly attractive? Really?" Marcus wanted to sink through the floor. "Can we please pretend I never said that?" "We can. But Marcus, you should know that workplace crushes happen. We're all human. What matters is how we handle them professionally." "Right, professional. I can do professional." "Good. Then let's never speak of this again." Marcus fled her office, mortified but employed. He immediately texted Tyler. "I sent IT to her. I sent the text to my actual boss." Tyler's response, "Dude, are you fired?" "Somehow no, but I may die of embarrassment." What Marcus didn't know was that Amara sat in her office for 10 minutes after he left, staring at the text message and feeling something she hadn't felt in a long time, flattered. The next few weeks were excruciating. Marcus couldn't make eye contact with Dr. Patel during meetings. She seemed determined to act like nothing had happened, which somehow made it worse. Every interaction felt loaded with the knowledge of what he'd said, how he'd accidentally revealed his attraction. Then, 3 weeks after the text incident, Harper got sick. Marcus had to call out of work for 2 days, staying home with his daughter who'd come down with a brutal flu. On the second day, his phone rang. "Dr. Patel." "Marcus, how's Harper?" He was surprised she even knew his daughter's name. "She's okay. Fever broke this morning. I should be back tomorrow." "Don't rush it. Take the time she needs. Your job will be here." "Thank you, Dr. Patel." "Amara. When it's not work hours, you can call me Amara." Something in her voice made him brave. Amara, can I ask you something? Of course. Why are you being so nice about all this? The text, the time off, everything. Most bosses would have fired me or at least made my life miserable. Amara was quiet for a moment. Because I'm a single parent too. My daughter is 7. I know what it's like to juggle work and parenting alone. And I know that good employees who care about their kids are worth keeping. Marcus felt something shift. I didn't know you had a daughter. I keep my personal life private at work. But yes, her name is Priya. She's the reason I do everything I do. Same. Harper is my whole world. They talked for another 20 minutes, not about work, but about parenting. The challenges of doing it alone, the guilt about work-life balance, the joy mixed with exhaustion. It was the most personal conversation they'd ever had. When Marcus returned to work, something had changed. Amara smiled at him more, asked about Harper, shared stories about Priya. They started having coffee together before meetings, ostensibly to discuss projects, but the conversations always drifted to their daughters, their lives outside work. I think Dr. Patel likes you, Marcus's coworker Janet said one day. We're just friends, she's my boss. Uh-huh, and the way she lights up when you walk into a room? You're imagining things. But Marcus had noticed it too. The way Amara's eyes found his during presentations, the way she laughed at his jokes a little too easily, the way she always seemed to have time for him, even when she was drowning in work. 2 months after the text incident, the hospital held its annual holiday party. Marcus almost didn't go, finding childcare was a nightmare. But Harper was having a sleepover at her grandmother's house, and Janet had bullied him into attending. The party was in the hospital's event space, decorated with Christmas lights and elegant centerpieces. Marcus nursed a drink, making small talk with coworkers, trying not to look for Amara in the crowd. Then he saw her. She wore a green dress that was professional but stunning, her hair down for once, cascading over her shoulders. She was talking to the hospital director, but her eyes scanned the room until they found Marcus. She smiled. He smiled back, helpless. Later, after several glasses of wine for courage, Marcus found himself alone with her on a balcony overlooking the city. Nice party, he said, because he was great at conversation. It is. Amara looked at him. Marcus, can I ask you something? Sure, that text, the one you sent me by accident. Did you mean it? Marcus's face heated. We agreed never to speak of it again. I know, but I'm asking. Did you mean it? He could lie, should lie. Instead, he said yes. I meant it. You're brilliant and kind and beautiful. And working with you every day while trying to be professional is the hardest thing I've ever done. Amara stepped closer. Good. Good? Because I've been trying to figure out if I imagined the way you look at me, if I was reading too much into conversations, if I was crazy for thinking my employee might actually be interested in me as a person, not just a boss. Marcus's heart was racing. You're not crazy. This is complicated. I'm your supervisor. There are policies, potential conflicts of interest. I know. If we did this, we'd need to be careful. Disclose to HR, establish clear boundaries at work, make sure there's no appearance of favoritism. Are we doing this? Amara looked up at him, and the vulnerability in her eyes took his breath away. I haven't let myself want anything personal in 3 years. I've been all work, all mom, no room for anything else. But Marcus, when you walk into a room, I forget about professionalism. I forget about boundaries. I just want to talk to you, be near you, know you better. I feel exactly the same way. So what do we do? Marcus thought about all the reasons this was a bad idea, all the complications, the workplace drama, the risk. Then he thought about how Amara made him laugh, how she understood his life in ways no one else did, how right this felt despite being complicated. We be honest with HR tomorrow. We establish boundaries. We do this the right way. He reached for her hand. But tonight, can we just be 2 people who really like each other? Amara smiled. I'd like that. They didn't kiss at the party, too public, too risky. But they held hands on the balcony and talked until the party ended, making plans for a real date, just the 2 of them. The next morning, they met with HR together, disclosed the relationship, discussed protocols. Marcus was reassigned to report to a different supervisor while still working in Amara's department. It was awkward and bureaucratic, but necessary. Their first official date was a disaster in the best way. Marcus was so nervous he spilled wine on himself. Amara laughed so hard she snorted. They gave up on the fancy restaurant and went for pizza instead, talking until the place closed. "This is weird, right?" Marcus said as he walked her to her car. "Dating my boss who I accidentally told I thought she was hot? The weirdest. But also kind of perfect? Yeah, kind of perfect." Their second date included their daughters. Harper and Priya hit it off immediately, both thrilled to find another single-parent family who understood their lives. They went to the park, got ice cream, laughed at Marcus's terrible jokes. "Is Miss Amara your girlfriend?" Harper asked that night at bedtime. "Maybe. Would that be okay?" Harper considered this seriously. "She's nice, and Priya is fun. Plus, she looks at you the way Princess Jasmine looks at Aladdin." Marcus laughed. "How's that? Like you're special. Like you matter." 6 months later, Marcus proposed. Not in some elaborate setup, but on a random Tuesday evening while they were making dinner together, their daughters doing homework at the table, and he just looked at Amara and knew. "Marry me," he said. Amara looked up from chopping vegetables. "What? I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But marry me. Officially combine our chaotic single-parent families. Make this real." "Marcus, that's not a proper proposal. There's no ring, no planning. I don't care about proper. I care about you, about us, about Harper and Priya having a family." Amara set down her knife. "You're serious, completely." She looked at the girls who'd stopped pretending to do homework and were watching with wide eyes. "What do you two think? Say yes," they shouted in unison. Amara laughed, tears in her eyes. "Okay, yes. But we're doing a proper proposal later with a ring and everything. Deal." They did do a proper proposal later. Marcus on one knee with both girls beside him, presenting a ring in their favorite restaurant. But that Tuesday in the kitchen, with pasta sauce simmering and homework scattered on the table, that was the moment that mattered. At their wedding, Marcus gave a speech that made everyone laugh and cry. "A year ago, I sent the worst text message in the history of workplace communication. I told my friend that my boss was hot, and I accidentally sent it to my actual boss instead. I thought my life was over. Turns out it was just beginning." He looked at Amara. "Thank you for not firing me. Thank you for seeing past my mortification to the person underneath. Thank you for being brave enough to want this despite all the complications. And thank you for proving that sometimes the worst mistakes lead to the best things." Amara stood, took the microphone. "Thank you for that text message. Thank you for being terrible at technology. And thank you for showing me that it's okay to want something for myself, not just for my daughter or my career. That love isn't a distraction from life. It's part of what makes life worth living." Harper and Priya, flower girls in matching dresses, cheered louder than anyone. Years later, they'd frame that original text message, the one that started everything. It hung in their home office, a reminder that sometimes the most embarrassing moments become the best stories. That sometimes sending a message to the wrong person is exactly right. And that sometimes, when you think your boss is unfairly attractive, the universe agrees and decides to do something about it, even if the path there involves the most mortifying text message of your entire life. If this story made you laugh, please like and share it with someone who's ever sent a text to the wrong person and lived to tell the tale. Subscribe for more stories about love found in unexpected places, and comment about your most embarrassing text message mishap. We've all been there, and sometimes it works out better than we could have imagined.